Today on the Onward podcast, we have Chris Haskell, a.k.a. Doc Haskell. He is the head coach and director of the varsity esports team at Boise State University, longtime professor at Boise State who became the head coach in 2017 and has grown an incredible program that's the envy of the nation at Boise State. Can't wait to hear all about him, Boise State, and the esports program. Doc Haskell, thanks for coming on.
You bet.
It's going to be fun. We're meeting for the first time today, but I feel like I know you because dozens of people have been telling me, you got to get Doc on.
Oh, dear.
You're kind of so I've done a little research and watched a little video and kind of digging into this a little bit. It's really cool. I can't wait to talk today and hear. Well, first of all, we're huge Bronco fans, and I am not in this world, so it's fascinating to me. It's like blows my mind fascinating to me, so I can't wait to talk to you. Let's start. Tell us a little bit about you.
I'm on the wrong side of middle age, probably. I'm probably the oldest coach in my field because of my age. Most of the folks are in their early 30s, late 20s, right, in esports, and I'm 54.
Did you see that study that came out this week that showed they've done this deep dive on aging, when you really start changing your body, and it's like in the 30s. Just super disappointing for me. I'm like, oh my gosh. They did all this imaging and it shows your capillaries and your arteries and your aorta starts like, you're on the other side of it at like 30.
You're falling apart. Wheels are falling off at 30, right?
Doc, that's not good. So I think we're all on the other side of it. But you are one of the older guys then, huh?
Yeah, I am. I mean, so by way of history, I mean, I came to Boise State in 1990 as an undergrad, lived in Chaffee Hall.
Where'd you come from?
Portland area.
Portland.
Yeah. I mean, you start to locate enough, and anybody who's familiar with that area, I would say Gresham, and then it's like, well, actually more probably Damascus, Boring, Sandy area.
So grew up over there?
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that, growing up over there.
Growing up over there, went to San Barlow High School, which was in band and music, had the best band director in the state for many years, Chuck Bolton.
What did you play?
Percussion. Well, and we have to, drummer, percussionist. That's the primary difference. Came here to study with John Baldwin, the original Doc, right? He was Doc Baldwin. Taught us that approach of if you spend enough time with people, you can't have such a formal title that students never feel like they have a personal relationship, but they can't take it so personal that they can call you by your first name, and that's what Doc Baldwin did. So when I found myself in this position, I immediately stole that moniker as a way of being disarmed enough, but being formal enough in front of colleagues that it didn't tilt them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and came to school in 90 and got all 3 degrees from Boise State and came back, which is unheard of to then, be faculty at your university, and taught 10 years in the College of Education with Rich Osgathorpe and Lisa Dolly and that crew and Brett Shelton, and then made the transition when esports started to...
What year was that?
2017 is when Bob Custra said we could be the Alabama of esports, and Gordon Jones said we're going to find an unfair competitive advantage. Yeah.
So 2017, so 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting digging into this, kind of getting ready for this. What's happened?
Yeah.
I mean, one in how big the space is and what it is in collegiate athletics now and what's happened to it. And
massive.
2, how dominant the program's been.
It's been amazing. I mean, and it feels kind of like, you've seen Inception. It feels like Miller's Planet. We were down there for, an hour and 27 years
I
have
still
passed.
don't get that show. It's like my kid's favorite show. And I'm like, you guys are too smart for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of math in that show, Kip Thorne and the like. But it has been a whirlwind. Well, here's what's crazy. We're the third FBS school. We're the third, power school to join. The first one, your alma mater, Utah.
Yeah.
A.J. Demick built that first program there for in the Division I, big football playing school era, there were about 30 smaller Division II, III schools back in the day. But now we were the third. Miami, Ohio was the second. There are 200 FBS schools today playing. And we play in the top, with Utah, we play in the top Power Esports Conference with Michigan State, Ohio State, Syracuse, right, Nebraska, Minnesota. I mean, all these really top schools.
Talk about the journey and how it started and kind of how give us back, because I think I mean, I'm assuming I'm like I always say, I'm the old guy now that
right.
But you think of people that may be listening to this. Part of the intrigue of you, one, and I want to get into that. I think you're a tremendous leader, and I think people look up to you, and for a lot of things, I want to get into that. But this is pretty new for a lot of people that are like, what? What does this mean, and how does this work? And
well, I mean, it's no stranger than rowing as a college sport, right? I mean, it doesn't have a direct corollary to any careers, right? It just is this athletic thing that if you focus on, you can become good. And then we start taking on our rivals and we see who can be better at this thing, right? It's around long enough, and rowing it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It's in the Olympics, but esports is going to be in the Olympics in about 5 minutes. So it's all part of the same kind of pattern. But for us, I was in the College of Education. Games was my area that I taught most of my classes in, using Minecraft or Second Life or Roblox as a learning platform, bringing students into it. And I was genuinely going back to a conference I'd already given my good keynote at, and I needed to search for another one. So I dove into like gaming groups, esports, and I thought I was going to do this broader one. And it became really evident to me, like, oh my gosh, this is the gold rush moment. Right, and I shared it with Brett Shelton, who shared it with the dean, and it got all the way up to Bob Custer, and he's the one that said, so there's an opportunity to be the Alabama of esports. This is 8 years ago. Alabama hadn't gotten beat by Vanderbilt, so maybe we're the Georgia of esports now. But it kind of became automatic at that point. I didn't intend to go down this path, but I was passionate about it, and I loved the students that we were drawing in, and it was like an opportunity to create, as Gordon said, an unfair competitive advantage.
So how do you start a program? How does it begin?
It begins with some memorandums of understanding on a campus, like we're gonna spin this thing off. Where does it sit?
Yeah.
And it was Gordon Jones who said, no, that this needs to come to the College of Innovation and Design. And so it moved that way pretty quickly from education, where I was, and they brought me with it. And I don't know what they traded for me.
I'm always fascinated because I think for the rest of the world, understanding the politics of a campus, it's always like, what?
Yeah.
But talk about how the different, just because I haven't had anyone on this that has talked about it, but you do have the way it's kind of set up is you have different colleges and deans.
Right. Yep.
And there's a lot of, from the outside looking in, a lot of competition and especially now that funding happens, it's like, okay, this new idea that, hey, we're going to kind of find ways to bring outside dollars and a lot of stuff. It's pretty competitive within.
So there's a general principle that always applies on every campus, from CWI all the way up to, the Stanford of Southwest Idaho, which would be Boise State. The idea of academic and intellectual independence, that you get to do your thing and we're going to support you because you're the expert in that. I mean, it starts really with the thesis and dissertation process. You drill down into something in a way that no one else does. So you're really the expert. So we can't tell you don't know more than, because you do. You know more than everybody else. So when these ideas pop up, you have to have support for which can be students who are interested in it, or dollars for which can be external, right? And so we had to find those things too. Gordon Jones is the one, we can market this. He's the one who first brought HP to the table to sponsor the program, and Crucial, Micron to help sponsor the program, and ICCU.
Yeah.
I saw something recently with a plaque with Kent Orm, who is one of our original true believers. He and Clark Rasmussen from ICCU were like, we want to scholarship these kids. So when you have a good idea and you have a way to support it.
Kent's the man.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Kent, if you're listening to this, we love you.
We do.
He's like the absolute best.
Yeah.
He's in a bad car accident. He's recovering, and I love that guy. But I was watching the video last night, and I saw the ICCU on the jerseys.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're a huge part of what we do.
So it's super cool that they're such supporters.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, we've been doing this for 8 years. We've graduated and put on our wall of fame 40 students, and they're responsible for all of that. I mean, they came in to help support kids through, and it's not a massive scholarship. We have to build scholarships like every sport program does, but they were critical in that early piece, and they got those kids out. So
you back to the deal here. Sorry, you pick a call, but Gordon wanted you because he could see the vision of this thing and saying, "Hey."
Well, you've talked with him. He's wicked smart.
Yeah. He's got vision. He certainly does. So he saw that you go in the college.
He knew where the puck was going to be.
He knows where skating to the puck, right?
Yeah.
That's great. And so then, how did you start it? Tell us a little bit how it got going. Was there already in the nation? Was there already you said it wasn't the FBS schools, but was there already a pretty robust program out there that you kind of merged into, or how did it start?
Well, so national organizations for competition are always part of it, right? In college sports, we know NCAA and we know the NAIA. Well, the NAIA had started an organization called NACE. No one needs to write this down. It's not on the final. But it was a collection of Division I, II, and III schools with esports programs and brought us kind of all together. In the early days when we were school number 36 and Georgia State was 37, right? It made sense to circle the wagons that way. But there are over 800 today.
Wow.
We get emails every day asking from schools who are spinning up programs, can they come and visit our campus? They want to know what we're doing. West Virginia right now is in our DMs saying, hey, how'd you set this part up? How'd you do this? We didn't expect that we would be in that position, but we were early enough, right? That people want to learn from our mistakes, now.
Yeah. So you set it up. What are the steps that need to go into it? And then how do you recruit? What I want to get to is,
okay,
now we're sitting here looking at your championship rings on the table here, but it's a big deal. And now you have a full program. So it's a very short time to go from an idea to full programs to winning championships every year and competing for the national championship every year.
Yeah.
And being the premier program or one of the premier programs in the country. So how did you do that?
So the short version of it is we decided we wanted to do it. Brett Shelton, who was my department chair in ed tech at the time, said, yeah, let's do this. And I had to kind of breadcrumb him for a little bit. I would have to send him like, hey, I just need you to read just the first 2 paragraphs of this article today. And then a couple days later, will you watch just the first 5 minutes of this video? And eventually he's like, okay, I get it. What are we doing? And so we spun it up. We drafted an MOU, which was education and CID. Marty Schemp was the provost at the time. He signed it. It went on to, and then we were an official unit on campus. We had an account code, and it was on, right? That's how it begun. And if you have an account code, then you can bring in money. It's not always easy, but you can bring in money into a university, and you can start to do things like buy jerseys and plan for travel and things like that. And as strange as that sounds, we then just outgrew every space that we had, offended the neighbors by doing too much stuff with the students, right? Students were having too much fun, right? They were laughing too much. They were showing up too often. And that's the only way to get change on a campus, right? Is you get students to stretch the walls of the space you're in until they're like, well, we got to solve this. Let's move them over there. Okay, let's move them over there. So we had 3 or 4 homes before we were where we are now, which is across from Trader Joe's downtown. Everybody's driven by the space and gone, what are they doing in there? It's esports.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So
did you initially the kids that competed, were they already on campus?
Yeah, they were walk on. We just did local talent search.
And you did talent search, reached out to the community and through.
There were clubs, on campus that were playing some of the different games. Yeah. We brought them all in, and
Okay, so then. Why were they so good? Why were they winning immediately?
Well, some of them would tell you we weren't good in the beginning, and we actually lost a number of, I think we lost the first 3 Mountain West championships to UNLV in 2 of the different games. So it took us a little while to recruit to build to that level. UNLV, a bigger, more California-centric area. And, like in football, there are the Texas-type places where they just develop a lot of really good talent in one thing. I don't know where rowing would be, but Texas football, Florida football. Southern California and Nevada were really strong in esports back then. So it wasn't until 2020 that we won our first title in something other than Rocket League in the Mountain West.
That's great. And now for us listening, what are the games?
Oh, okay. Everybody has seen it. Rocket League, which is cars playing soccer, right? Everybody recognizes that one. We play Smash, which is a game probably lots of folks have seen on their Nintendo, and it's like a 1v1 fighting game. We're all terrible at it, and our children are much better at it. The other 2 that we play as top varsity games are Overwatch, which is a professional league also, and Valorant, which is also another. And those are 5v5 team games. We sponsor primarily team games, but we have a college football 26 player. We have a Madden player, Madden national champion player. So those are the primary games. And every couple of years we look to see, is there something developing that we might want to recruit the next best student in. But most schools play the 4 that I mentioned: Rocket League, Valorant, Overwatch, and Smash.
So now I'm going to get into some really naive questions. So you recruit these kids. Now you have a name brand. Well, it's Boise State, right? So it's a pretty great place to come.
Yeah, it really is.
It kind of sells itself, I think, a lot. But you get these kids come in. It's now competitive. You're kind of picking who you want to come in. What's do they train? Do they? Oh, I mean,
here is where the mysticism kind of drops a little bit, because it is what you already know. It is college sports. It's 20 hours a week, 24 weeks of contact, right? Grade point minimums, Bronco code. We're in meetings early in the season. We're doing the photos and media. We're watching film together. We're building out essentially our playbook and practicing against other teams. The difference is that we can scrimmage other teams without leaving home, because everybody plays online, and so we can play Notre Dame in a scrimmage on Tuesday and try to execute our stuff.
It's just fascinating to me.
Yeah, it's that part of it makes it really cool. We have in the past sometimes had practice squads. Folks are trying to make the main team that we can practice against, but often it's good to test strategy and how prepared we are against somebody who just wants to beat us no matter what, right? They're not the B team, right? So that makes it really handy. But it is what you know. I mean, they come after class, they have a quick snack in the fueling station, and then they're at their consoles. We're going over our practice plan. These are the maps we're going to hit. These are the strategies we're going to do, and here's what's the expectation. We're watching film together.
So watching film, you're actually studying the other teams that you're playing, what they do, what their strategies are, and how you're going to beat them.
Yeah,
it's just mind.
It is. The fundamental difference in esports is these kids come in with professional level skills that many of them have or could play professional, and they choose college instead. Unlike the big sports where physical maturity allows you to be ready for the NFL or the NBA, WNBA, any of those, or Olympics, they're usually at their best between 16 and 21. Right, so it tends to overlap. And we have professional players now who are full-time college students. And we have to hand over their time. Jonathan Foraker recently, he was in Korea, in Japan, in Stockholm, Sweden for the World Championships. He's an Overwatch player for us and a team captain for us. But he's never stopped his student time. We just hand over his competitive time in those brief 6-week periods where they're doing the professional stuff.
What kind of money is there in this for these guys that play professionally?
Tens to hundreds of thousands. Peyton Tuma, who's our Madden, he won the Madden Bowl twice. He won it first time at 17 when we were still recruiting him, right? And he's won a bunch of Madden tournaments. I don't look at what his earnings are. That's not good when you're a state employee to look at what your students are earning. But it's in the 6 and 7 figures. His success in that game. So our scholarship conversation is very different. I'm like, Peyton, would you offer a scholarship to another student? Yeah, but yeah, they can have that kind of success.
Talk about one of the things I thought was fascinating in the video I watched is, so then a lot of it's remote, but then these championships are held in different regions of the country, and it looks very competitive.
It is, yeah.
Because everyone's sitting at tables and kind of going at it.
On stage, yeah.
And it was, I thought it was interesting. It's not March Madness, it's
May Madness.
May Madness, and it's tournament, brackets, the whole thing. Talk us through that.
You bet. So we're in a number of different competitive. It's like golf in a sense. There are majors throughout the year, right? And there is a big finish at the end. It is the May Madness. Basketball is the best correlation there, where the winners from each of the conferences, and a lot of the big conferences play, the Big Ten, right? All the way down to the Peach Belt, right? They all bring their representatives, and they bracket us up, and we just climb to the top. Right, so it's the top 64 teams, actually top 16 teams in 4 different games, climbing to vie to that national championship. So it's pretty cool, but it is exactly what you would think it would be.
Over what period of time is the competition?
It's a weekend, right? You qualify for it, and then it's all or nothing. In the last 3 years, it's been in Arlington, Texas. We think this year it'll be in Las Vegas.
That's great.
Yeah, it's good for us. We can get our fans to Las Vegas.
So I also saw, talk about Jeremiah and the department of athletics and Cody and kind of how they've kind of embraced this and
apologies to any of your University of Idaho graduates that are listening, because this is always painful to listen to, but we are in the good old days right now. I don't think people realize. You do. You've spoken with him. You've heard people talk about him. Jeremiah is special and singular. Yeah. His drive is fearless. He's looking for epic all the time. What's next is not just a branding decision. It is a strategy. And he was on campus maybe 2 weeks, and he and Cody invited me. They didn't know who I was, right? That's what I thought. Invited me to breakfast and said, "You're on our big plan. We've got a big runway here of all these things we've got to hit, and we've seen all the things that they've been hitting. And when the time is right, and we spent about 2 years just like working on how this would fit and what we would need, and bring it in. But we live in the best time to be a Bronco, period. And I've been a Bronco since 1990. So there have been some good times. But he is the leader that he appears to be. He messaged me before I came in today saying, you're going to love it. He's so creative. His questions are so good. You're going to have a great time. I mean, he's engaged in this, and I wouldn't think this would be at his level of attention.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been around a long time, different sectors of like medicine and politics and business, and I don't know that I've ever met a guy quite like him. I think the motor is one thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that work hard.
Yeah.
But I think the vision on the front end, and then the clarity in which he kind of communicates plans to everyone, and it's just dang inspirational. I mean, he just drives you to want to be better and be part of something bigger than you are. It's pretty remarkable. I think, to your point, sometimes we go so hard at life that you don't appreciate what's happening right here in front of you.
Yeah.
And I think, frankly, with him and his just where he is and his drive and what he sees, I hope he knows how much he means to this community right now. Yeah. Right? I mean, sincerely, it's been. You look at what's happened in a very short time.
Yeah.
And what we're on the precipice of doing as a community. And Boise State is the front porch of the state.
Yep.
I mean,
sorry, Vandals, but yeah,
it just is. I mean, and I everywhere I go, when I travel, it's Boise State, right?
Yeah.
Boise State, Boise State, Boise State. the brand. I mean, and then you look at just the last few years and everything, including what you're doing. And it's not just football. It's not just basketball. It's not just the major sports. If you look at the women's sports, if you look at soccer and your stuff.
I mean,
it's across the board. And he supports it all.
Yeah, he does. And he will deflect and say, he's got a great team around him. But there are three things that he has directly taught me that I use every day. One is that he says it's his obligation to provide his group attitude, energy, and work ethic every day. If he does those things, he knows he's doing a good job as a leader, right? And those are plastered on my monitor at work, right? The other thing is that his 3 years up or out philosophy, which I don't think you guys talked about, but I've caught it on other podcasts. When he was climbing ladders, he's like, I have to change where I've got 3 years to like absolutely magnify this position that I'm in so that it becomes something bigger or that I am wanted somewhere else, right? And that's a big part. So I'm thinking of my own life on that 3-year clock. How can I turn this into something? How can I go from 1 assistant coach to 3 assistant coaches? How can we add positions? How can we add scholarships, right? Where can we grow to borrow against Spencer, right?
Yeah.
Where are we growing to? Those are huge ones to me. And there's a piece of evidence that this place is special. He's going to be the most sought after AD anywhere. We better get used to people showing interest in him, and he's got to give some respect to those offers, or it puts Boise State in a bad position. I don't know who it would be. If Texas, calls. I mean, that would be the big one. I don't know that would be his mothership, but everybody will tell you the grass isn't bluer on the other side. I mean, we see Dirk here in town. He wants to be a part of it. He could be a coach anywhere, right?
Yeah.
We see Chris coming back all the time. He's standing on the sideline. The grass isn't bluer. This is an extra special space, and we are in the golden age right now.
Yeah, I think well said. Amen. I mean, it's enjoy every moment of it. The president search is really interesting right now.
It is.
I mean, it's that's the most important hire in the state right now, because if you look academically, which you grew up through that, and you look at just the campus and research and the growth and where it's headed, the importance of higher education to a community, to a state, and then on the athletic side, and you put both of those together with the brand and the location and the beauty of campus, and it's just it's amazing. And you talked a little bit about Custer. You go back to those days. I mean, people don't remember the Great Recession. It's like it never. It's like it never happened.
Right.
And it was so vivid still in my mind. It just how dark and deep and ugly.
2007, 2008, kids. That's when it was. Look it up.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrific. And this community was just crippled. And at the time, here was Bob Custra, like just busting at the seams and saying, "Hey, we're going to do this." And coming across the river with computer science, I remember going into it was crazy because Amy Mall, who's still there, right? Having the vision to pull that department off campus and put it in downtown in our building, and it was not easy. I remember going to some of those early meetings, and like some of the tenured professors saying, "What? We're doing what?" And
it'll never work. It's too far away.
It's too far away.
We solved all the problems, right?
And now you look at the campus and the growth and how it all fits in the city. There's just so many amazing things about it. And I think, you think of what it means to the families of Idaho and the kids that grow up here, and you can stay here. You don't want to go anywhere else. You want to go to Boise State. Yeah. That's all happened. It's happened over a period of time with tremendous leaders. People follow people. That was a big preamble to my next question.
Okay.
So
it's a great preamble.
One of the things that when your name comes up, everyone brings up is you are one of those transformational leaders. You inspire people. Just today being around you, it's pretty infectious. What are your principles of leadership, and what drives you, motivates you, and what it's thoughtful. So there's something to be learned here today for us being with you.
Well, let me be completely transparent. I started this job when we transitioned into esports, and that was going to be my full-time gig. It was a year where I still taught some classes, and then I was getting buyouts of some of my courses so I could put more time into it. Everybody supported my decision. It was Gordon Jones who said, "Let's take you from clinical associate professor to head coach," right? Which means I set aside any tenure and promotion. I left the academic track completely, and I became staff. I went from 9-month to 12-month, right? This was his vision. It was a little bit scary. I realized pretty quickly within the first year and a half that while I loved being around the students, I had no real training in how to be a head coach. And not in the X's and O's part of head coach, but how do you get students from one place into another place? How do you get them ready? How do you get them to not argue with each other? Where's that culture come from? And I just had to go to work. I realized I'm the problem. We haven't won any Mountain West titles except in Rocket League. We got to get better at recruiting. I got to fix me. Right. And I would argue that self-improvement that you see in the academic, the athletic, compound all the time. It comes from Jeremiah through Cody and that whole group. So I started studying every football coach I could.
So it's interesting as you say this. I'm going to interrupt you as we go through it. I think there's some things to learn here, but I'm around a lot of people sometimes. This idea that you never stop growing. No. You never stop looking for your weaknesses, and you say, I am going to improve and become. Yeah. I'm going to become what I want to be by doing each day what I want to become, right? Right. And so for you, it was, I'm going to grow as a leader. I'm going to grow as a coach. People follow people. Yes. I got great examples around me, but I need to become something, right? Yep. That's powerful. Mm-hmm. I need to become more than I am. And that's a common theme on this conversation with all the folks. I think of Carolyn's one more recently talking exactly about that. Yeah. What can you become? She's become an amazing mentor and leader, right? It's not just the doing of the thing. And that becomes a responsibility of everybody who improves enough is to share. You can't keep that secret. So I just started reading, consuming multiple times, marking up copies of every coaching book. There were a couple that were really strong for me. The Urban Meyer Above the Line book when he was at Ohio State, because he identified culture as something you teach. So these are the principles you believe in, and he uses Tim Kite's philosophy, as do I, in just the way we prepare our students. So gamers, despite what people would think, there's no vaping in mom's basement of this group. They're all, a National Honor Society 4.0 students. I mean, we recruit the absolute best of the best as students who happen to be amazing gamers. But some of them came in with sports, but we didn't give them here's our culture, here's what we do and we don't do. We don't blame, complain, defend. We always look for where we can take responsibility or accountability. Let's own this, right? And that's what Spence does with football. And they have a definite culture. I mean, he's even said it yesterday, right? Is that we're gonna reap what we sow, and right now we're sowing everything we're gonna need later in the season. And you have to have that message. And I learned that the hard way after a few years of, some frustrated students because we weren't hitting the levels that we did. What I look for now when we're trialing or actually trying out players, they're coming from high school, is how frustrated and disappointed can we get them? Because I want to know what's our starting position with discomfort, because they're going to have a lot of it. It's a strange flex, but we've lost more national championship games than anyone else in the PEC has ever played in, right? Now, we've won 6, but we've lost 5 times where we thought we were going to bring home the trophy. And some of those are quite painful. I mean, the video piece that you saw recently, we lost to Ball State on the biggest stage there is. And you need to know that you have the right people on there if that happens. What happens then, right? So winning and losing, are all part of a culture, and you have to do both of them the right way, or it's kind of a waste of everybody's time. Do you ever, as a head coach, the responsibility you have, the privilege you have of interacting with these young people and teaching them about life and the principles that will make them successful in whatever they choose to do later on. You ever think about how profound that is?
Yeah. I probably of all of my peers in the coaching circle, many of them are at that ambitious stage. They don't have a lot of self-reflection, but I'll get choked up. Yeah, so you got me. Put this one on the reel. But I get choked up being on stage. You'll often see nowadays kind of a huddle, either before or after, because that group of people will share that one singular moment together and carry it for the rest of our lives. And no one else will know what that feels like except us. All the struggle that we went through to get there, all the personal conflict that, people wanting the same seat and wanting to start, but someone had to be a backup, and, matches we lost, matches we won. They wrap all of that up because this is a brief stop for them. I'm the lucky one that I get to do this, hopefully another 10, 15 years, but this is a tiny little sliver in their life, and they're going to go on and become the next thing. But that, we joke about the rings, but the nice thing about those rings is they're kind of a magical object. They're a talisman of this experience that group of people had in that place.
Yeah. And very symbolic. I mean,
yes,
we need, I don't think, and I think sometimes ambition, you kind of said it, ambition and drive and where you are, and it's always kind of like going for the next thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's only on afterwards we reflect back, go, I wish I would have savored, I wish. And I think the symbolism of these things like rings.
Yeah.
So for those listening that aren't watching on YouTube, we got a whole box of
there's
championship.
A box of steel and I don't know.
And each one of those probably have a deep story of who was there, what it meant to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is the reason for the ring. My sweet wife, Allie, does not want me to wear the rings at Costco, but I think that'd be a great place because then you stop and tell a story about the group of people who did this thing. But on the back of this one is the word endure, which is very important to this group of 4 students who were with the experience this year. This is a world championship ring, but it's in black because they ended up canceling the live event because of an issue. So we qualified for the world championships for the second year in a row, and they didn't hold it the second year in a row. So it was sad in a lot of ways. There were also some very profound personal things that happened within the team. Parents losing their home, students, having these really difficult times, and we all came together. We were in this thing together. I love those students more than anything, and this just reminds us. This is the thing we learned that year, that we can endure hard things, right? And this is the reminder to us, all of us, that we're not done with hard things, but we've got proof that we did some pretty amazing things when we shouldn't have been able to.
That's just awesome.
Yeah, that's what the rings do.
I just want to make sure we give you plenty of time. So, are there ways that people can find out more?
Yeah.
What are ways the community can get more involved in what you do? So let's talk through that.
You bet.
You got your website.
Yeah, and we're on the athletic site now too, which is pretty. To me, that's surreal, right?
Awesome.
That's surreal. It is the right home for us. Culturally, if nothing else. But people can jump in on the website anytime and find out. I mean, our games are about to be listed on there. Pretty much when school starts, expect Monday through Thursday, we're competing, and everyone is welcome to come and
so talk about the facility and talk about people coming by, or I don't know. Tell us what we need to know about your program and how the community can be more involved and help.
You bet. We've got a dedicated 7,000 square foot space downtown. I think it's actually more than that. I saw something recently, it was 9, so I think we calculated wrong. But has a spectator arena. Our players play on a stage, big old cool lights and stuff like that. We have live broadcasts. We do about 30 hours of live content a week. Everybody can watch our documentary now on KIVI. It's on every Tuesday now. I think it's probably going to get a second life and a run somewhere else, which is, that to me is really surprising. We modeled the above the line kind kind of videography after what they were doing with the climb, right? We saw what athletics were doing. Wow, we should do that. So we can give people an insight into what we do. We didn't know that it would it would make TV by the end of the year. We'd have to reformat it for TV. But the best way that folks can interact is, and even if they just don't get it, just come down and tour. Noon to 9 every day, but Sunday you can just walk the esports facility downtown, right on the corner of Capitol in front. It couldn't be a better location for us, right? Across from Trader Joe's, and come in and see where the players practice, see the coaches in the meeting room, see the studio, see the arena, sit in one of the theater seats, which were taken out of the Real Theater Country Club that when they closed down the discount theater on Overland. Same seats.
That's cool. And then for kids that may be interested, or parents out there that have kids they're like, hey, my son or daughter would love to be part of this. What's that process like?
There are 70 high schools in the state of Idaho that are playing esports. Yeah, we host the state championships every year and recruit heavily from the state championships. That's why you want to host it. From all over the state. If they're in school, and they middle schools are now spinning up different teams in different games. All of them T-rated games, right? No one plays. Colleges don't scholarship, or at least none of the big ones, in M-rated games because high school kids can't play them, right? So it's team games, it's T-rated games, and they should just ask: Does our high school have a program? And many of them do. So there are some really good ones around the state, but they can come and watch and meet the players. Players will, take time to talk to them. It's a good deal, and they can always watch stuff on YouTube.
I just thought of one other question. So it's been with technology changing as rapidly it does. Talk about the equipment kind of technology side of this, and what you've kind of seen in your time as the head coach, and what should we expect in the future? What's coming down the pipe?
Well, so a lot of students will say, high school students say, Mom, Dad, I need the latest, Uber system. But the truth is most of the games are engineered for 3 to 5 year old systems, because if they make them only for the top system, who's going to play? Yeah. Right. So, sorry, kids. You should try to get a good one. But that the most important thing, if somebody wants to play at the next level, your grades got to be good. That's the first question we ask in the recruiting process. What are your grades? Because I can make you a better player. If you're not already dialed into being a student, that's a wrestling match, right? To get kids to the right level. So we're looking for 3.8 or higher for scholarships, and we give $175,000 of scholarships annually. Trying to drive that number up still. And graduated 40 Hall of Famers so far with a relatively small budget, and we're really close to global takeover. It's pretty cool. But here's what's really cool is that we're at that phase that basketball was before before Larry and Karen came along and built that basketball facility for them. Before Alan and Dee, the Nobles built that space, right? We're at the right place to build our facility, to find our Keith and Catherine Stein, to build our family that is going to make it a generational piece for us. And that's where, we want to talk about where the puck's going to be. That's where the puck is going to be. We're really close. We're only a couple of years away. We want to be a host site for the USA Esports Olympic training center, right? Cool. They're going to move that around. Why not Idaho? Yeah. Well, why somewhere else is the better question, right? How about us? So those are, we talk about 3 years, right? Up or out. That's our up. It's like, okay, how do we position ourselves? And equipment is a huge part of that. The grass isn't bluer because we've got HP here, we've got Micron here. That's kind of too much power, right? We've got people who believe in these kids and don't think that it should exist somewhere else. It came from that original message of Alabama,
Sorry, I know we're getting late into this, but what about the future of gaming? Talk about like just where's this thing heading with 3D and realistic stuff? And you read stuff all the time of where we're headed, but what's your take on that?
It's kind of like the technology changes in other sports, right? Is that there's been technology changes in rowing and swimming and speed suits and no speed suits and things like that. But the mechanics are the same. You put a team of people together. Everybody has the same tools, and it's how do you work together to overcome what the opponent is trying to do. If it becomes that we're viewing these with VR goggles, awesome. But the mechanics are the same. It's comms, it's preparation, it's never take a fair fight. It's what's your job, what's my job. Let's get that honed really well, and we can beat anybody. As things become more mobile, maybe we'll play on some mobile platforms as Meta and these VR pieces. They're really fun, but as they become more important, maybe we'll dial into what it takes to do those things. But right now, it's a standard home PC with a 25-inch monitor that's essentially the playing field for the majority of students, and that's where the games live right now.
That's where they live right now.
Mm-hmm.
When's the VR stuff gonna hit, do you think? Or
people said for a long time that once we got up over 120 frames or 140 frames a second in the goggles, and people would stop having motion effect, and it's up into the 240s now, and it's still not everything people want. When it stops being something that distracts us, I think that it'll be more prevalent. We dabble in it a couple times a year, just doing different little things, but competitively, the real tech is how do you get kids with great grades, to come to Boise State. That's the part that we've been working on.
Yeah, it's interesting that you come back around to that, which it's about the kids, right?
100%.
I think now that I've spent time with you, it's clear why you've got the reputation you do. But the fact that it's authentic and it's about them and it's about this place in Boise State. Let's end on that. What does this place mean to you?
I'll get teary again. This is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, met my sweetheart 32 years ago, on campus. We cheered together. Thank you for not outing me as a former Buster Bronco, but in 92, I was a cheerleader, and I was in heavy rotation in the suit because Buster was a cheerleader back then, part of the Spirit Squad, right? And Julie Stevens, superstar, local coach for us. But Allie was a Boise High graduate. Everything that I have has come from this university. All 3 degrees. My best friend, of 32 years, 4 children, 5 grandchildren. Everything is got little blue dust on it, and so. I had a chance a couple of years ago. I got a lot of interest from another university, and it's not. We can say Ole Miss now. They were building a big center down there, and they wanted to interview me, and I agreed to go down for an interview. And as soon as they published it online, Dr. Trump had listeners, Jeremiah had listeners. Both of them called me when they released the schedule, and asked the best question I've ever heard, which is, what would it take for you to not get on that plane? That's what everyone would want to hear, right? That you're important enough to us that we want to make sure that you're happy here. And let's be honest, I was never going to Ole Miss. I don't want to take away my negotiating power. But Allie, who supports everything I do professionally, told me that if I went to Oxford, Mississippi, she'd try to visit as often as she could. So with children and grandchildren in the state, we're not very mobile. And yeah, but it was the impetus that this is a really special place, and people know it. Yeah. But now it's what can I do to get it ready for the next group. I'm on the back end of a career, still ambitious, but back end of a career. What does it look like? What does the building look like? I don't need a statue, but I would take another 40 or 50 graduates that do what ours do. I mean, Kellen McGurkin, the most successful Kellen in Boise State history, was an Overwatch player for us, and now he works on Capitol Hill for the legislature. I mean, I want more of those. Wow. Right? So,
well, hey,
this has
you.
been awesome.
Thank you for coming on and
awesome.
for inspiring all that you do. And this has been really, really fun. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. This is awesome.
Let us know what we can do to help anytime. Thanks, man.
You rock.
Thanks, everybody.